Hey, Zoomers! Welcome back to World Zoom. So happy you could join me again today. Much appreciated. I'm going a little different topic today. I hope you like it. Just a mix up on some of the things I've been doing, something that's happening here around me in Indiana. And I'm calling it the Haitians Are Coming. So imagine this scenario. You're in a town in the middle of Indiana. This has happened all over the world. Don't think it's limited to Indiana. We certainly have seen it in England, in France, in Norway, Denmark, in Canada, and all over the U.S. But let's say you're in a town of 18,000 people, a mix of white and Hispanic. And there's a couple large employers in the town that have historically employed just Hispanics in their workforce. Now, the Hispanic group is about 6,000 of the 18,000 citizens. There was some early stressors when the Hispanics were first hired by this employer, but now it's been, 20 plus years. They've acclimated to the Indiana way of life. They're homeowners. They take care of their properties. They're members of primarily the Catholic Church. All the kids are in school. They do their buying locally and in South Bend and Indianapolis and Lafayette. They've acclimated. There was no real increase in crime during the time that they're there. The Trump administration comes along. It becomes increasingly difficult for this large employer. Keep getting raided, keep having problems with the Hispanics. Some of the people are being deported and taken out of the country and certainly out of the workforce. So for whatever reason, I can't even imagine why they turned to the Haitian population, this group. Now in a community of 18,300, there's now more than 2,400 Haitians just in the last 6 months that have come primarily from Miami and also from Port-au-Prince to this small town in Indiana. And I can tell you that, it's causing quite a bit of problems in the town. Whereas the citizens got along and the Hispanics, the kids went to school, they went to church, they bought their properties, they took care of things. Now you have this group that's come in from a true and utter third world country, one of the most violent, criminal, and corrupt countries in the world. Even now, the UN and the State Department calls it an absolutely no-go. Even the folks that used to come in, the Christian groups, to build houses, to do water filtration systems, to spread Christianity, are really no-goes to Haiti at this point with the new gang warfare. But there's only 11,600,000 people in Haiti, most of them concentrated in the capital, Port-au-Prince. But it's known as the kidnapping capital of the world now. Crime, extortion, civil unrest, no health care, robbery. And so gangs control now about 90% of the country. Two main gangs control the country at this point, enough so that they've ousted the prime minister. The United Nations brought in a group of peacekeepers from Kenya to try and get control in April of last year. So exactly 1 year ago, the UN came in. Then the two major gangs actually decided to form and come together, rival gangs, to fight the UN and also the Haitian government. Like I said, the president, prime minister are out. They've got a new guy, a gang leader who's been declared a terrorist. Both the gangs have been declared terrorist groups by the Trump administration. Their leader is a guy by the name of Barbecue, if you can imagine. But he's a brutal guy, so not one to be messed with. So knowing all that, and any of you have been to Miami, you know Little Haiti is a no-go zone. They've raised in such a third world and violent situation. They primarily grew up in the streets. The earthquake that occurred and completely destroyed the country several years ago has caused really no input of any financial things. They've sort of been forgotten at this point. There was initially some monies that was flowing in. That seems to be gone. So those that could escape and come illegally or through church sponsorship to the United States are doing so. And if you have 11.6 million, and you're living in the world leading country for extortion and kidnapping and child trafficking, you want to get out there as quick as you can. Now, I can understand a little bit the move to Miami because of the ethnic groups that would surround you. You have the Cubans, and you just have large groups that would surround you, and there are resources that would be available in a city like Miami. Don't get me wrong, little Haiti is a pit and not a place you want to drive through or spend any time. But that's a whole different ballgame than packing up 2,000 of them and moving them to Loganport, Indiana, which is the town that I'm talking about. The religion there is a mix of Catholic, but then they also have their Voodoo beliefs. We've seen that on television, and that's been really overplayed. The Voodoo religion in Haiti is not quite what we see, on our movies. It's more of a child's type of religion where they give offerings and things, but it's still voodoo, don't get me wrong, and the Catholic Church obviously doesn't like it, but about half the population are Catholic. So we've got this 2,400 Haitians that have moved to conservative Loganport, Indiana, and we're starting to see the effects of that. The crime rate has substantially increased. There's no real home ownership. If they are able to get a phone and a home, they'll pack, 10, 15, 20 people into the home that they can. The organization that employs them all has started to rent or purchase homes to be able to put them in. But we're seeing an out-migration of the Hispanic population, which no longer can get jobs in Little Loganport, and it's really too far to drive to another metro type of area to be able to get work. So we're seeing some of the producing citizens going out out of Cass County, the county, and certainly out of Loganport, the city, and we're having daily, in 6 months, 2,400 people that have absolutely nothing in common with the population that's there currently. Now, we have a friend who's in Loganport that saw the writing on the wall. We're starting to see what we call a white flight out of Loganport. You've seen that in both ways in some of the large cities in America over the last 50 years. Let's say in reverse, where you have an African-American population that's in a downtown metropolitan area, and then come the artists and the hippies and the folks that want to try and live in the downtown area. Eventually they start to build lofts and condominiums, new coffee shops, music places, and then all of a sudden the developers start to take over. Economic grant money comes in, and really just by costs of the downtown and the expense, you see a black flight or an area to different areas leaving while a different group moves into that area. In reverse, of course, we've seen it over decades too, but it's happening now big time in Loganport, where this is sort of the final straw. Economic struggles of the community, not really highly ranked schools. They're just, and then now you have groups that have absolutely nothing in common that are bringing, unfortunately, the way they were brought up to conservative Indiana. So if you have someone that comes that has no sense of right or wrong, or at least no interest in doing anything right or wrong, and put them in a place with limited police resources, limited social services, limited ability to make sure their kids are going to school, and they're not going to school. Take them out of war-torn areas or out of Little Haiti and Miami, where they've never even seen a flushing toilet, certainly in Port-au-Prince, and try and put them in conservative Logansport. It's not working for either side. Now, you could argue it's paradise for the Haitians. They're now making $16, $18, even $20 an hour, living in employee-sponsored housing. They have more money, than they probably ever had in their life, but they're moving in next door to people that have had homes for 10, 15, 20, much longer, their whole lives, homes. This lady I mentioned before, and where else could you get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home for, what'd she say, put it on sale for $76,000 in Logansport. Several months later, no offers on 2,700 square feet. She ended up selling it for $52,500. So if you're in the market to come to a place where there's some big, fancy, nice homes that are going to be coming for sale, she was just one of the first, but you see this become a domino effect. It doesn't look like there's going to be any end to the Haitian migration in to that community, and once they have a foothold, it'll exponentially increase. And when you have a population of 11.6 million over here looking to come to an area where the Haitians have already been established, have their own hair cutting places, their own religious entities, their own food stalls, their own families, then expect that number to increase by pretty significant numbers. The first initial group that came in was only 200, so from 200 to 2,400 in half a year. So I don't have an answer to that. I don't know what to say. We saw it in south side of Indianapolis with the Burmese, Myanmar coming into Southport. And Greenwood, they were all working at the Amazon store. Entire shifts of Burmese now run the Amazon plants there and work there. That has, had some rough edges to it down there. We've seen it in other communities, but I've never seen anything like Haitians coming into a white community by the thousands. So that's something that's somewhat unprecedented, unless you look maybe at the Somalians coming in up in Michigan and those type of migration that's been coming in. I'm not saying I know the answer because I don't know if they're legal or not. They may have got some sort of diplomatic or war-torn visa to be able to come to the United States, and so they're there legitimately. I doubt that, but there could be a few that are there. So I'd love to know your thoughts. What would you do if you were in Logansport? How do you stop this? How do you acclimate, or what resources do you build in the community to be able to get the Haitians to buy into the community and have some sort of relationship, or have them establish a business leader, or you have a business leader on the side where you can come together and talk about the differences and the way to integrate? Those are just some of the ideas I have. Would just love to know, but I'd probably sell out and pack up anyway. It doesn't seem to be any winner in sight. And if you're going to lose half the value of your home when your home's not worth very much to start with, not to mention your peace of mind and your safety is gone, part of the reasons you'd be in Indiana in the first place, there's probably a lot of other better places to get out if you can. So anyway, the Haitians are coming. Talk to you guys later from World Zoo.